a look at Nigeria, the recent restrictions on interstate movement in Nigeria, albeit with exceptions for essential goods and services. For instance, yesterday, Mr. President locked down Kano 2 weeks and an extension of 1 week for Lagos and FCT. This is bound to create some logistic issues for food production and distribution. This may lead to a reduction in the supply of food, particularly fresh vegetables and fruits, if not well managed. However, having said all that, there's a saying that in every adversity lies the seed of an equal or greater opportunity. I believe there's an urgent need to sustain food production and supply. We have to ensure the citizens have access to food that will offer them good nutrition and some level of resistance to the virus, so that they can be up and doing. What this portends, as far as I'm concerned, is that the agri-food sector is going to be one of the most important business sectors post-COVID. Despite the challenges highlighted, there are numerous opportunities for players in this industry and also others who are interested in this sector. According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, agriculture contributed an average of 22% to Nigeria's GDP in the last 3 years. I strongly believe this can easily go up to 30% in a few years, provided government play its part in providing the required infrastructure, initiating the appropriate monetary and fiscal policies, and encourage lending institutions and investors to significantly enhance participation in this sector. Once again, I welcome everyone to this session. Welcome our panelists and all the participants, the first-timers, and those who are coming again. So I think I will start with Mr. Adefeko, Vice President Olam. Mr. Adefeko,
yes.
Please, how do you see the pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, how do you see it impacting on food security in Nigeria, especially in the urban area, the metropolis?
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Adefeko.
Yes. Of course, you know, these are unusual times globally, and of course, we can narrow it down to Nigeria. I'm not one of those who believe that we will have a food crisis, particularly in the metropolis. As a result, let me quickly give a bit of background. During the lockdown, or when the lockdown was announced, we did not have agriculture as regarded as an essential service. So we had a problem with supply chain food logistics, which reared its head in the very first week. But I think after reaching out to the respective regulators and impressing upon them the need to have the supply chain flow to be activated and enhanced, that was allowed in probably the second or third week. If this, and luckily for us, yesterday, the president is more or less easing the lockdown next week, albeit in a staggered fashion or in a staggered manner. But I think to a large extent, food from the farm to the gate or to the farm gate will not be too much of a problem, because right now I think the opportunity you spoke to earlier on is that we will now have logistic companies playing a major part and a major role in the food supply chain. I participated in a webinar last week where I stated that Nigeria will not have a food crisis, but we might have what we call a pallet crisis. Pallet crisis in the sense that we probably have to change some of the things we crave or we crave for or we eat. Okay. So that's my take. I don't see because of the fact that we've just done 4 weeks and probably do 1 more week, I do not see that what would I call it now? A food crisis in the country. I don't see a food crisis in the country. My only problem right now is with respect to manufacturing companies of agri-food companies. Their supply chains have taken a bit of a hit in terms of replacement of their inventory. Packaging materials, for example, for some companies and the likes. A lot of the big ones probably have inventory of 1 quarter, 2 quarters, but a lot of the small ones do not have such luxury. So you find out that they need to replenish that stock. And with what has happened, this is global. So the world is on lockdown, as it were. This is a new normal, which we are trying to adjust. But I do not, and I repeat, I do not foresee a food crisis. what we just need to work on is to make sure that our supply chain and food and agricultural value chain logistics is enhanced. And right now, I think we've come to the level in which there's a bit of alignment now across board, particularly with the agencies, the police, the security agencies on the one hand, the respective bodies like the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, and the likes, coming together and saying, you know what, food should be declared, or food and supply chain logistics should be declared as essential service. Prior to now, it was not really on the radar. But you can't have people quarantined at home or locked at home who can't feed. So it was important, and I think that was eased around later in the first and early in the second week. So I think to a large extent that has been taken care of. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's foolproof, but to a large extent that is happening.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that's some reassurance. Well, I don't know, Miss Lloyd, do you share the same view?
Hi, everybody. Good day.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome.
Well, I know Akin is a big player in the value chain. But I share.
Ade.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay. You're a big player, so you're playing at the top of the food chain, so you have muscle. I have contact with lower end of the pyramid, and as at yesterday, in my village in Kaduna State, and I've been on this for 2 weeks. In my village in Kaduna State, we have extension agents that are stuck in Kachia for the past 1 week because they've not been able to get to the farmers, because once the farmers are being beaten and chased away from their farms for ginger particularly, and then some that are just trying, the rains have started, are trying to begin to work their fields. The task force are very, very efficient in the villages, but the palliative was not efficient enough to reach those villages. So the task force are beating people out of the farm. I had cause to call somebody. I'm sure you know Andrew Kwasari. I've had to actually call him to make a report that they should please talk to the people responsible. If this task force are this efficient in my village, just extrapolate that to other villages. And it's not one village. I have contact with about 4 locations: Kachia, Kagarko, and Co, because we have ginger that we're working on.
Yes.
As at yesterday night, myself and the DG of NABG, Manzo, I'm sure you know him also.
Yes, the former commissioner.
Exactly. We're dealing with these issues, talking to DPOs in the local government to say, listen, leave these people to do their work. Meanwhile, as at 2 days ago, I think there was a meeting and the Minister of Agri now being involved in the task force, because the task force did not include the Ministry of Agri. The whole membership of didn't include them. So now they're there, but there's still a problem. And if the problem I have just related continues, we will definitely have issues with commencement of planting and land preparation and planting. And that will definitely have an impact. So people like you need to help us.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. I think that's the essence of having a diverse background. I know Mr. Ade is a corporate player, and he plays, like you said, in the big league. But it's important to have a balanced view what is happening out there, because interestingly, we have a number of peasant farmers in Nigeria. They constitute a lot, and with the restrictions, how do they get their produce to the market and all that? So I don't know. Ade, maybe you want to respond or want to shed more light or something?
No. What Lois spoke to is very true. Like I said, at the initial stage, agriculture was not even considered.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly.
Yes, I said agriculture was not even considered. You had a task force that had other players without having Ministry of Agriculture. But that task force now has, I mean, after a lot of lobbying and a lot of, appeal, saying that listen, you cannot take out agriculture. Agriculture is an essential service, and agriculture is across the entire value chain, from from farmer to processor to producer to right down to the consumer. So it's very important to do that. So I believe that with the concerted effort and pressure that is being put on government right now, that will be looked into. And I know it's very important to state as well. We, like I said, COVID-19 is is a new normal, and post COVID-19 we have to adjust. Oil prices have plummeted, so for us this is a chance to put our money where our mouth is, where we're talking about diversification, which we've been talking about for the last 30-40 years. And what Lois spoke to is very, very true. A lot of our farmers are small-scale farmers. Okay, so 70-80% of them actually are small-scale farmers, and a lot of that produce comes from the hinterland. So getting supplies from the hinterland to the metropolis, as you described it, is a Herculean task for the small-scale farmers. So what is happening right now is, you have to understand that we operate a federation. So you find out that in some of the states, they have become lords or masters unto themselves, forgetting the fact that we need to have this whole movement, this whole logistic chain has to be, coordinated and holistic. So that is noted, and I think that appeal and passionate appeal will be impressed upon the government, which is why I said it will not have a serious impact now, is because of the lockdown that has been eased, or that will ease the effective next week. If this had continued for, say, two to 3 months, I mean, we'll be in a crisis.
Okay.
So I was speaking to that, rather advisedly.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anyway, from what we have said so far, I think what this also portends is the fact that there's an opportunity out there for logistics companies who can actually bridge the gap, step in for some of these farmers who are unable to actually reach out to the markets and all that. But I think the easing out will also help a great deal.